video, we're going to continue with our retopology work here on the bottom half of the football cleats, the sole of the shoe, and more specifically now we're focusing on the teeth of the cleats, the part that digs into the grass or the turf. And it's pretty straightforward and relatively simple work on each one of these, but because of the number it's going to take us a little bit of time, so I'm going to go ahead and speed up the playback from this point forward. Some of these are a little bit tricky trying to get that last loop close to the base, because there are not only other teeth that are obscuring the view, but also parts of the bottom of the cleat just doesn't give you a very good side angle, so we just had to sketch it out. Alright, so now that we have finished all the teeth, we're ready to work on the rest of the sole. I'm going to use the strokes tool again to start sketching the topology out. I'm going to start right down the middle. Trying to make sure that I have the lines crossing over any loops, because there won't be any polygons made if I don't. So as you may have noticed already, anytime you click on a line you see it highlighted in white, you can either delete it or just edit any of the points. Okay, so I've realized at this point, at the very top of the cleat, I don't yet have it all mapped out. So I'm just going to hit the Enter key and generate most of the polygons and just tweak it from here and then figure it out toward the end. So I switch to the Quads tool, and now I'm going to use the Delete Polygons tool to delete the polygons over each tooth, and switch back to the Strokes tool, and it will snap from vertex to vertex. Let me switch to the Split Rings tool so that I have 8 polygons to connect up with each tooth. And again, you can just click over a vertex and end at a vertex, and it will connect it up just fine. So that's the thing to keep in mind here is when you're approaching something like this, if you start off with too much geometry, if I had went with 12 or 16 segments, then I would have given myself a much tougher job at this early stage, and you don't want that. You want to keep it as simple as possible. So I'm using the Quads tool with a direct selection method. Again, it's just 2 clicks each. Use the Split Rings tool to add some more geometry again so that I have 8 polygons to connect up around each tooth. And here, when I click on this, it's trying to snap to the vertex on that other tooth, and I didn't want that. Now, if your 4th point is out and away from another vertex or an edge, 3D Coat will anchor that 3rd point or that 3rd vertex and give you a lot of leeway for that 4th. So once you see the preview that you like, just click and it will create the polygon for you. When the direct or the parallel selection method doesn't quite work, or it becomes a little bit difficult, for example, if you have a stretched polygon, then you might want to switch to the 2 clicks method. It's actually 3 clicks in all. It's clicking on the initial edge and then your 2 additional points. You're being very specific in that regard. Or you could do like this with the Points and Faces tool as well. Points and Faces is really nice if the polygons are relatively well defined, but whenever they're stretched, I find that a lot of times you waste time trying to get the preview that you want, or it's a little tricky. Sometimes as you click, it gives you a triangle instead of a quad, and so I try to steer away from the Points and Faces tool most of the time. But the one thing I do like about the Points and Faces tool is that you can hover over a vertex, right click and drag to move it on the fly, so you can work with vertices that way. But when you're working with the Quads tool, I noticed that it will do that with an edge, but it will not do it with a vertex. So I'm just trying to think of a better way to connect this up here. Just going to delete some polygons with the Delete Polygon tool and redo it. Just want to make sure it flows better. And it's a little bit difficult the way these teeth are laid out in kind of an irregular fashion. And again, with the quads tool here, with the direct selection method, 3D Coat will quickly and easily find and snap that third point, but allow you to wiggle, or gives you a lot of leeway to find that fourth point, or where you want to lay down that fourth vertex. So as you can see, sometimes at certain angles, the points and faces tool really struggles quite a bit, and you can waste some precious seconds trying to get a preview that you want. Whereas if you're working with a quads tool more often, you can work with a greater deal of precision. So just a matter of getting comfortable with the two different tools. In certain situations, the points and faces tool is ideal, but I find more often than not, again, the quads tool is the better option. Just want to try and redirect the flow here. So I'm using the 2 clicks method with the quads tool. Switch to the brush tool to kind of tweak the placement. Just add an extra loop there. And voila. So again, it really is just like putting a puzzle together. I'll stop the video right here, and we will finish up the entire series in the next video. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching.